Namaskar, everyone. Welcome back to Aditya Soma channel. Hello. What's up, everyone? Hope you guys having a wonderful evening so far. Um, Definitely, I had a wonderful day. Hope you guys having a wonderful day as well. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. Hi, Mamta. So today's topic, I thought we'll discuss about house hacking. Pretty much how I got started. My all journey, literally the investing journey, has started with this concept called house hacking. So I would like to shed some light on that. And in the meanwhile, hey Kush, how are you? Hey Abram, how are you? Hey Charan, oh nice, welcome. Thank you, brother. Hey Priya, how are you? So, yeah, so this when I heard about this concept called house hacking, I couldn't sleep for a few days. Is this really possible? Can I really do it? Is it possible to do right now? Those are some questions that I had. So I'll be throwing some light on it, and also feel free to ask your questions if you have anything related to real estate sales, or any other topics, fun topics. Happy to talk. Hey Shub, hello. Thank you for all the love. Thank you, guys. Yeah, so first of all, what's really house hacking means? Um, in North America, the biggest expense many middle class families or lower middle class families like us have is the rent. So when I was like working full time, when I was a student, especially when I was a student, I didn't see that much. But when I was working full time, when I had my wife with me, we have to rent a 1 bedroom apartment. So just that 1 bedroom apartment at that time, this is like 6 years ago. So I'm not talking about now. The rent was $900, 850 or 900, somewhere around there, and I was making $4,000. So literally one fourth is gone for the rent, and of course another one fourth gone for the car and all those things. So keeping that aside, literally one fourth of my income is going for the um, rent. And where is the rent going? I cannot write off because it's an expense, but it's not a business expense. It's gone. um, I won't get it ever back, that rent, because it's literally like I'm taking my money from my pocket, throwing it away. That's what I was doing for years. And when I heard about this house hacking, I'm like, is this really doable? So in simple terms, the house hacking means you're you're buying a property, you're occupying some portion of that property, and you're renting out the other portion. It could be, you can do in multiple ways. You can buy a single family home that has multiple rooms, and you live in one room, rent out the other rooms. Or you can buy a duplex, legal, the property that has legal 2 units. You live in one unit and rent out the other unit. Or you can buy a legal triplex or legal fourplex. You live in one unit, rent out the other units. So the concept is, you rent this property, most of the portions except the portion that you're living in. So rest of the portions, if that can pay your mortgage and your expenses, hooray, you're living for free. So that's what the house hacking concept means. So when I heard, like, that blew away my mind. And especially at that time, I was in Windsor. So the Windsor prices, most of the even GTA prices at that time was like much lower than how it was. So at that time, like, I could find a property that pays, not only makes me live for free, I was getting little extra money for living in it. I even made a video detail about that property. But in short, that's a concept, house hacking. Let me know if anyone in the people who are watching, if you are doing a house hacking, let me know in the comments below what's your experience look like, or if you're thinking of house hacking, what do you think about house hacking? Let me know in the comments below. um, hello, hey Mahir, how are you? Hey Nilima, hi, thanks for joining. Rakesh, hello Aditya, how are you doing? I'm doing fantastic, how are you? Padma Suresh, hello, hi, good morning. You're welcome. Thanks. I'm glad to hear that it's helpful. Yeah. Let me see here some questions on IG. How can we get funds for down payment when my relations want to give me as a gift? Good question, Charan. So in Canada, when you're looking to buy a home for your personal use, the lot of banks will allow you to take gifted funds from your family and friends. So most likely families will be stronger, especially if it's coming from your sister, cousin, or brother, or whoever. um, they do. A lot of banks will allow. um, Talk to a mortgage person, definitely they'll be able to help you on how much percentage can be a gifted funds, how much percentage can be your personal funds. But definitely they do, because a lot of parents would love to gift some funds for their kids to help them to buy their first home. So that's normal. Primary purpose, yes, banks do allow. So especially if you buy a duplex, you can still put only 5% down under 500,000. If you go for triplex or fourplex, generally a lot of banks would need you to put 10% down. So if you're buying a 600,000 property, you need to come up with 60,000. If you're buying 300,000 property, if it's a duplex or single family, you got to come up with 5% down, which is 15,000. So that's an eye opener for me. So you don't need to have all the money from your pocket. You can get mortgages. Thank you guys for all the love. That glad to see lots of love on Instagram. Hey Mohan, how can I invest in Canada from India? So Canada do actually love foreign investors. So Canada does um, allow you to invest here. Um, so technically you're a foreign investor. There are certain cities that have some foreign tax, so foreign buyer tax. On top of the purchase price, you have a foreign buyer tax. So whichever the city that you're looking to invest, look into that. Make sure the city that you're investing in does not have foreign buyer tax, because that's almost like additional 15%. um, and there are possibilities for you to get a loan if you have an income from back home, if you can prove that on the papers and all. So there are possibilities for that too. Like there are lenders, again, not all the lenders, but there are certain lenders who will be happy to lend you if you're coming up with maybe 35-40% down. So you have to bring higher down payment comparative to people who are living here, unless if you have a partner who can whom you can partner with here. If you have a relation or someone who is willing to open a corporation and they be the major shareholder and they qualify for the mortgage, then you can get higher mortgages. Akhil Chaudhary, is it hard to get a part-time job at Windsor? Hey Akhil, so nowadays I have been seeing a lot of students working in Walmart, Tim Hortons, all these supply chains, all these grocery stores. So I think it's possible. It takes some time, because especially you're coming from totally a different country here. If you're new here, so you got to understand how to apply, how to interview, how to attend those interviews, and how to um, mm, present yourself well so that you can get that job. So it takes some time, but if you network with people, if you find if you keep on asking, mm, you will be eventually getting those part-time jobs. As far as I heard from students, I was not a student here, so I started with a full-time job. So I don't know too much on that side, but from what I heard is it's not that hard. It takes 2-3 months to find one. And if you anyone on the who is live, if you or if someone looking for a job related to administrative, we are hiring one person for administrative role, transaction coordinator, who is responsible for taking care of transaction paperwork and also communicating with the clients, all those things. So if you are or you're anyone whom you know is qualified, we are looking for a full-time employee. So feel free to send us a resume at info@wincityre. It's in the comments, or hit us through on the website. So we'll be happy to join, happy to jump on a call, see if you're a qualified person. So just a quick marketing there for our new hire. um, Let me see, there are a lot of questions on YouTube. So which type of professional community growth do you expect in Windsor in coming 5 years? Chaitanya, good question. If I'm understanding the question right, what jobs are we expecting? Is that something that you're referring to, professional community you mean, or something else? If you're asking related to the jobs, so what I'm seeing is, still, of course, Windsor is a heavy blue collar city. So we have a lot of automotive industry related jobs. I mean, that's what heavily based on the Windsor. So mm, probably with this electrical vehicles, that a lot of automotive companies that in Detroit, Michigan are building up. So that helps to probably give more business in Windsor as well. um, and also, like, a lot of people are working from home, and a lot of people also trying to find opportunities in Detroit, crossing the border. So I'm expecting people who are looking to work in Detroit or surrounding areas in Michigan, or people who have a work from home option, or truck drivers or nurses or IT employees. So those kind of mm, professional also I'm seeing in last, like, I have seen in last few years grow in Windsor. Hey Uday, unfortunately we are looking for someone in Windsor, who for sale, for the administrative assistant, they has to be present in Windsor. Rakesh, for house hacking, I'm always scared about the maintenance part. Which tenant damage to the property, as it is so expensive here, like kitchen, sink, bathtub blocks is usually things occur often. So great question. Actually, that's one of the reason actually I was scared when I was looking to do this house hacking, because you're literally sharing the house with someone else, right? And then someone else can break things in the house. So that's where you have to get a good education on how does leases work. Number one, if you don't want to learn all those things, probably hire a good professional who is very knowledgeable in that area, like property management. So for me, I chose the second option. I chose the property management. But I know a lot of people, they learn really well about this leases, and they make sure there are a lot of actually online, even forms where you can buy a solid lease for $50 or $100. They have, like, online sales that I have seen, where they give you what are all the things that you need to include when you're going to rent your place. So make sure you have the clauses, like, um, anything that they break, like for example toilet blocks, that's very very common. So it's tenant's responsibility, it's not your fault, it's their fault. So your lease has to clearly state that, if something that tenants come up with the issue, if the tenants is causing the issue, then the fix is on them. So you send the plumber whatever the invoice, they have to pay for it. So if you can come up with those kind of clauses, you can secure yourself from the breakage that they're doing. And also, like, same thing applies for kitchen sinks or anything the damage. So the property, generally what my property manager does, they take a video tour and photos while they're showing the property to them. When they're about to sign the lease, they show the property with a tour and with photos. And if they break, when they're moving out, they review again. If for some reason anything is broken or anything, now they get that bill, they have to pay for it. So if they don't, we can put on their credit. So in here they cannot escape from the credit. If they want to get their credit better again, they have to pay that. So just learn. Eventually you will know what to look for, what to how to make sure protect yourself. And of course, on top of this, there will be some unexpected things always come up, because maybe your furnace breaks, or maybe your roof, the shingles flew away because of the heavy wind. That's one reason why, if you watched my last live, I was suggesting, like, every property that you own, have an extra 10,000 set aside, because in real estate, you're not making money every month or every year. You're making wealth in a long run. So this is one of the reasons why you gotta have that extra funds to protect protect your asset in the long run when something happens, so your property is safe. Hope that helps to answer your question. Batman, I love the name, man. Hi Aditya, just purchased a triplex, awesome, and grandfathered tenants for all units. What is the best way to turn over the units? I was thinking to owner occupy one unit, cash for key for the other units. You question and you gave the solid answer. That's exactly what I was about to say. So if you can house hack, get one unit for your purpose. So now you got one unit, the other two units, start negotiation process. Easiest one is always low hanging fruit, in my opinion, is cash for key. So everyone has a number in their brain. They might not tell you. You got to negotiate. It's a process, it takes some time. But now, if you can make sure, convince them, perceive them to accept for that offer, if it's $1,000, $500, $1,200, or $2,000, or $3,000, whatever makes sense in your situation, whatever the tenants happy to take and move out. That's a first step, the best solution. And again, give them a small pain as well, like just saying, hey, here, if you don't move out, I can give you an actual official notice to get you out for renovation purpose. I'll give you a first opportunity to come back with the amount of money I spent, upgrades, and now um, if you want to go through that all that process, I will be doing it. But instead, I know it's painful. I'm giving you some fun money to help you to for to just as a compensation for all the hustle that you have to go through. So I'm happy to help you, and you in return help me to get out of from the property. So it's a nice way if you can um, get that out. That's the best way to start with. Actually, that's the only way, as far as I can think, in an official way, unless if your property is in a rough condition, is not in a livable condition, or if you have some other issues with them, then you can go through a different process. Or if they are not paying rents, then you can start the eviction process through for that reason. But the best one is cash for key. Hey Karan, awesome. I'm living rent free from last 1 year by renting full house and renting the other rooms. Fantastic, man. Kudos to you. That's a awesome feeling to have a rent free, right? Isn't it? Mahir, in a transaction, can one Remax agent sell home to another Remax agent? Absolutely, anyone can sell to anyone. It's if it's a Remax agent to a Remax agent, or whichever, the same brokerage. If the agents belong to the same brokerage, they have to disclose. It's called a multiple representation. So they must disclose that they sold for another, agent from their office or from their same brokerage. So it's just a disclose has to be there. Any tips regarding finding vetting property deals in Windsor to make ADU? Mm, TMC Car Mike. Sorry, man, I cannot pronounce that name. I don't know if that's a name or just a username. So first tip is have a good realtor. So if you're an investor looking to invest in Windsor, of course, me and my team will be more than happy to help you guys to how to analyze the deal and all those things. But if you're you don't want to work with anyone, you just want to find yourself, of course, still nothing wrong with that. How to analyze it? Number one, what's your goal? What are you looking for? So make a list of your requirements. So for in this case, you're looking for a ADU, right? So for ADU, what's the main important key elements? How much is the square footage of the basement? um, how much, what is the height, how much is the height, because you need a x amount of height, approximately 7 feet is, you will be safe side. Requirement is like 6'8" or 6'7", around there, and plus drywall and flooring and all those things. So 7 feet is safe side. 7 2 7 3 is fantastic. um, and how is the window size? Most likely a lot of properties doesn't have window size, but which is fine, you can do those windows. And the other one is like, does the property has a great entrance, or is there a way to add a great entrance? If there is a way, how much is the cost? So you got to look into those elements. And on top of it, the lot size, because if you have a good size lot, you might be able to put another ADU in the back as well. So there are a lot of things that you can do. There are a lot of ways you can look at those requirements. The one of the best way is to look at the properties in person. Go check out as many properties as possible on the listing, on the online. It's hard to find the requirements for ADU purpose. You just need to schedule the showing, go see the property, check out if the property makes sense, if the height, if it has and meets most of your requirements. Then you can analyze the numbers. Then you got to break down, okay, how much is my purchase price, how much money has to spend on this project, and what would be my ARV, what would be my cash flow. So you got to do all those numbers. If everything makes sense, then go buy it. Hope that makes sense. Prashant, hi, I have a question regarding getting the second house mortgage after first house mortgage, going for second one. Do I typically need 20% down, or it depends on the income? So generally, when you're buying an investment property, it has to be, the most of the lenders will want you to pay 20% down. Some of them might even ask for more, but generally it's 20% down, because it's an investment property. And then they look at your income, debt ratio, and all those things. So of course, if your debt is so high, you might not qualify. But there are lenders who look at just the property income and your credit. So then you might be able to qualify. But in general, you need 20% down, unless if you're moving from the first property to the second one and making the second one as a primary home, then maybe you can try for 5% down. Abraham Paul, what if tenant doesn't pay the rent? How do you protect yourself? That's a good question, man. Unfortunately, no one can predict if the tenants decide not to pay the rent. I would immediately start the eviction process. So there are certain steps. My property manager, the first thing, like if they don't get the rent on the first, they will get the first notice in the eviction process. They will get the notice, like they will get the uh, notice for reason for not paying the rent on the fourth or fifth. So we will start immediately the process. If they still don't pay, then we were going through the landlord tenant board. We will evict them, and of course it's a pain in the butt. It will take like 4 or 5 months at least, and with this COVID situation, it's taking even more. So again, going back to my suggestion that I was giving last year live, and now that's where does having access to extra 10 20,000 cash for that particular investment purpose will come in handy, because you never know what tenant's situation is, when they will stop paying the rent. We don't know. And unfortunately, as an investor, I can tell you it could happen. Thank God, knock the wood, I don't have any tenants so far who haven't paid. Probably one or two tenants, once they stopped paying 1 month and 2 months and then started paying back again. But so far I haven't had to go through the eviction process for not paying the rent for that purpose. So hi sir, kindly suggest me. I would like to apply for PR through consultant. Is this correct thing, or is there any other way? I want to settle there for children future. Hey Padma. I'm not a consultant, but I have a I have some basic knowledge. I don't, please don't rely on my knowledge. Go do more due diligence. What I can tell you is, if you can get IL score, a solid score, and search on that um, the express entry calculator, see if you can get those points. If you can get those points and you can get through the express entry, you can get your PR, because you got to have qualifications, like, all those, like, they will ask on that calculator, it will ask your age, your, how many how many years of job experience, your study qualifications, and all those things, and plus IL score. So once, check the calculator with 7 IL score, 8 IL score, change those things, see how many points you're getting, and see how many points they're picking up right now, in through express entry. That's the process, as far as I know, for PR process. That's one way. And the other way is to come for studies. So you can come as a student, come here, get a job or studies, get admission at a college, and come for the studies. That's a study visa, and then after studies you can get work visa, and then you can apply for PR. Or the other option, the third option would be, if you apply for a job, the Canadian employers, someone who cannot find employees in the country, for example, if an Indian restaurant need a chef, Indian food, they cannot easily find here, because it's an Indian food, and they want authentic chef who can cook that food. So now they look for employee in India, and they job offer them, like, it's called, like, what do you call, closed work permit process. So they apply for you if you get that job. So that's another alternative. Like, I'm just giving one example, but there are other different jobs that, where employers cannot find jobs here. Those are the employers look for employees in different countries for a qualified, whatever the job role that they're looking for, if they cannot find here. So those are the three options, as far as I know. Depends on what's your situation. There are a lot of Facebook forms, and unfortunately I'm not an expert on immigration side. If you want DM PR Canada or something on Instagram for me, I'll give you some referrals. I have some friends who own consulting companies, so I can get you some referrals there. Hey Mahir, can I join 2 real estate boards? Yeah, I think, as an Ontario real estate agent, you can have your license in GTA. GTA, you can have you can join the GTA board and the Windsor board. I guess, I know a lot of realtors do business in both the boards. But again, don't take my word for 100%. Just call Windsor board. They will tell you yes, you can or you cannot. As far as I know, I don't see any reason, because our license valid for throughout Ontario. Throughout Ontario. Nerdy Yogi Mom. Sorry if I pronounced if that's not a name. Aditya, I made a hasty decision of purchasing a property to move in. Okay. And unfortunately, I couldn't move in now. Have to rent this place now. I may have negative cash flow on the property. I'm very upset. So again, that's where you got to analyze. You got to analyze the deal. When you're buying the property, you got to look at, what's my case one, what's my case two. If you don't move in, how much is your, how much is your expenses, how much is your income? Because I know, if you don't if you get a negative cash flow, I would be upset as well. So better, that's exactly why I would suggest, do analyze your numbers properly. Because if when you analyze your numbers, the best case scenario, worst case scenario, you know what you're getting into. If you already knew and get that, if you don't move in and if the property will be negative cash flow, then it's your responsibility. So but at least you own the property. And if you purchased, now you have a property that is, even if it's like $100 $200 cash flow, if you cannot hold it, maybe, if you have enough appreciation, maybe go sell it, and then look for another property that you can cash flow. So it's you can, in real estate, you will make money in a long run, even if it's like, 100 200 or $300 cash flow negative. if you have a capacity to hold on to it. So please be upset, but learn from it. Dealing with the mental stretch, fingers crossed now. Hey, honestly, don't stress yourself. Honestly, I know a lot of investors who have negative cash flow properties and who did very, very well in long run, because over the 5 years period, over the 10 years period. So do your simple numbers. If you're making $500 negative cash flow, 500 into 12, 6,000. If you have a capacity to bring that 6,000 extra funds, and plus all the unexpected things, if you have that capacity, if you find a job or extra income source, now you have that thing. So that extra 6,000 is sorted out. Now let's say the market continue to appreciate the same way how it is doing, or at least halfway. So right now it's like 20 to 30% appreciation. Let's say it will appreciate for 5%. So if you purchased a property for move-in, that means you paid 5% down. So if you purchased a 500,000 home, and if the property appreciate by 5%, your 5% of 500, you your property value increased by 25,000. So your negative cash flow is 6,000. So just the appreciation is already now in positive returns. I don't know if I'm making sense. Let me know in the comments. So stick with me. You have negative 6,000, but you have positive 2,000, 25,000 because of the appreciation. And the mortgage pay down, that's another probably like, whatever the mortgage amount for 500,000, probably around like 16, 1,700 or 1,800. Out of that, 8, 900 is the goes towards your principal. So 8, 900 into 12. So let's keep it simple. Let's say 10, 9,000 there. So 9,000 plus 25,000 minus your 6,000. So still you're making positive return on your money. So I would not be upset. I would learn from that. And, for the next one, just do your due diligence better. Is there a way to see how a property was sold for like Zillow in US? Unfortunately, that's where you need realtor help, because in Canada you cannot get all the data. It's very tough. The mm, not all the information is public. Unfortunately, I don't know why, but you gotta work with a realtor to help you with those things. So that's where, especially if you're not a savvy investor, not even if you're a savvy investor, you need a good realtor friend who is the investor, who can help you along the way, and give them back with the referrals, business. Take their help wherever you need. If you need a, analyze something off market deal, whatever, take their help and give them back through referrals, or appreciate them for their hard work through different ways. So that way he will be more than happy to help you, because you're giving him other business, even though you're not doing that particular transaction or anything. Hey Tim, hi. Gursimran, can we find a cash flow deal in Windsor? Absolutely, man. So actually I was thinking, I know someone will ask me this, so I actually opened. So I'll be sharing my screen. If you're on Instagram, maybe jump onto YouTube, because I cannot share my screen on Instagram. If you're on YouTube, here I'm going to share my screen to give you guys an idea about what properties are available. So I was looking at what are the active duplexes, just to, because those are the house hacking related properties, right? So just to quickly give you an idea what is available in Windsor. So I selected all active listings for sale duplexes in Windsor, LaSalle, and Tecumseh, detached. So there are 22 properties that are duplexes. So I just want to quickly run some numbers, right? So there's this duplex listed for 249. Of course, it's a clickbait. Probably it will sell around 400 range. Again, I'm not saying because by looking at the listing price, I'm saying because I analyzed this property before, just FYI. So this property has 3 bedroom, 2 bath, and one unit is 2 bedroom unit, and the other unit is a 1 bedroom unit. So currently 1 bedroom unit is rented for 990 plus utilities, and the 2 bedroom unit is vacant. So for the 2 bedroom unit, this property is probably nice brick, nice and clean. Probably doesn't even need some painting. It's not modern, but it's nice, clean, ready to rent. So, and the basement is unfinished. If you want, you can increase, add more rooms, maybe another 1 or 2 rooms if the height is decent, another washroom. Now you can make the main floor a bigger unit. That's another idea for value adding. But if you don't want to spend money for now, maybe just rent as is. You will get easily 1300 at least for 2 bedroom. In a actually upside, you can even get 1500. But conservatively, let's say you get 1200. So now your income is 1200 plus. I don't know if you guys can see my calculator here. Let me pull up a calculator. So you have a 990 plus 1300. Oops. So your income is $2,290. So let's quickly look at how much cash flow you would make at 400,000. So mortgage calculator, I use this ratehub.ca to calculate the mortgage. It's very accurate. I love this site. So I punch in here 400,000. So if you're putting 20% down, I would select 30 years amortization, and the interest rate, probably let's go for the high side, 2.25. Even though you have options that you can get for lower, let's just do the numbers on the high side, right? So $1,269. So let's minus that $1,269 here. And so he said their tenants are paying utilities. So I'm assuming they have a separate gas and hydro. But again, we got to verify those. For now, let's say the tenants are paying hydro and gas, you got to pay for water. So roughly for a duplex like this, the water will be a monthly 150 on an average. That's because I have a duplex, something like that size. And plus insurance, that's another approximately 150 as well for that size house, for that size duplex. Again, I'm just giving a rough estimation. And then property management, if you don't want to manage like me, that's a 6%. And for grass cutting, another 4%. Snow removal, grass on an average, let's say 10% of your goes for your expenses, repairs and maintenance. Let's throw $300 just on the high side. So you're at 421. So the last thing is missing is property tax. So there is a website for Windsor. You can check up this website where you can find this property tax details. So it's 1106 Elm. So let's 1106 Elm. So tax assessment. So the property tax is $2,473. So $200. Let's say 201. So you're making $221 positive cash flow. Let's say another $100 for unknown. So you're still making positive cash flow. This is in a conservative approach because current rents are $990 for 1 bedroom, and for 2 bedroom we throw it in $1,300. But there are best case scenarios. If you do some cosmetic updates, if you get that 1 bedroom unit, I have 1 bedroom units, the high one, like which I have done like nice quality updates. I have rented for $1,290 for 1 bedroom and $1,500 for 2 bedrooms. So if you do those kind of updates, if you increase your rents, then for 200 extra on the 2 bedroom, another, let's say another 150 on top for 1 bedroom. So your cash flow can go potential for 470. But again, that's conservatively your income is $120. Maybe we take that $20 out for the rental if there is any rental equipment. That's another element I would look for. So $20 for, generally the hot water tank is $18, $20. Hope that's helpful. Let me know if that is helpful. Any questions? Sorry, guys. I mistakenly pressed some different button on the screen, so I had to log out and log in. Carrie, can you pop up the next question? Nerd Yogi Mom, thank you so much. Unfortunately, I have a negative cash flow of $1,000 to $900. Again, like I said earlier, right? So if you cannot handle that $1,000 to $900 negative cash flow, because you learn from your mistakes, don't pinch yourself too hard. I have made mistakes. I lost 80,000 on my one of the first few deals. You know what? When I looked at that deal, that actually taught me so much. Because I lost money there, it helped me to think in a different direction. So don't punch yourself, don't feel too bad about why you bought it. Trust me, there are thousands of, actually hundreds of thousands of people who want to buy a property. They didn't even purchase even one property. Kudos to you, you own a property now, you're a homeowner. you know just find, maybe if there is any creative ways you can increase your cash flow by like doing Airbnb or short term rentals, or any other way you can increase your cash flow, maybe furnished rentals or any other creative ways. So find unique ways to increase. If not, keep it for a few years and then sell it, make that returns and put another different investment. Rana, what are your thoughts on buying 30 to 50 years old home? What would be the ideal old house we should look for? Great question, Rana. I get this very, very often, especially from people from my community, back home, same Indian people, or I would say like more South Asians, because we got used to a habit of, most of us just buy a new, we only build our new homes and we live in that house forever. We don't like to buy resale homes because it's a culture. We were pretty much in that culture, coming from that. Here, seeing these older homes is scary because they are like 50 years, 70 years, 80 years. So here's my thoughts. Out of all my properties, I have like 15 properties approximately right now. um, all of them except my house and one of my building, rest everyone or 80 plus years, and my house and my 17 unit building is around 50 years old. And I never felt my house is older home because I have updated a lot of things. So if the structure is solid and rest inside here, everything can be updated. Everything, literally, like from the bones. We are doing a project right now. Me and my partner, um, literally, we took everything out. It's an older home, 40, 50 years old home. But now we are including the structural walls. We are redoing everything. Now it's almost a brand new home. So if the house has been maintained well and the structure is solid, then it's okay to buy an older home, especially if your cost of entry, if you cannot afford a newer home, and if your newer homes are not making positive cash flow. That's one of the reason I stick to older homes right now. Maybe going forward, because now I made decent amount of returns on each of my properties, maybe in next 2 3 years I might sell some older homes and then upgrade to newer homes when I can afford for negative cash flow. So you can strategize accordingly. Generally, older homes people like to buy for short term investment for 5 years, 4 years. You upgrade them, make the property much more better. Now you sell it for profit and move that profit into a better property. So that's my take. If the property is solid, it's okay. Mm, You missed my question, Ebo. Sorry, let me check. Which is the best, cheapest area in Windsor which you can buy now and it will get good selling price in future? So good question. I was asked the same question last live as well. So yeah, there are probably, in my opinion, three neighborhoods that are still you can find like properties under 300, 400 range. um, Number one is like Ford City. Mm, Number two is downtown. Number two is West Windsor. These are the neighborhoods where I see still properties are selling under that 400 price range. Whereas whole Windsor average home price is like 560 ish. So yes. And what do I think about the values? Generally, if the overall city is increasing, those values are also going up, because the same properties that are like selling for 280, 290 right now, those were actually 60, 70, 80,000 4 years ago, 5 years ago. So they appreciated quite well. And also in those properties you will have a little bit higher cash flow, and of course it comes with challenges. So the challenges are you finding a quality person, quality family will take time. You got to make the property better. um, but if you can find a quality people, if you can manage the property well, then you have better cash flow, especially if you're starting, if you're in the beginning of your career. If you don't have too much extra cash, or if your income is not that high, if that's the only place you can start, you know what, nothing wrong with it. I started in those locations. Actually, I'm still investing in those locations as of now, because my strategy as of now is buying those cash flow properties. The properties need some love, I'll upgrade them, I'll make them nice and put decent tenants, and I want to have that good cash flow. Maybe after couple of years, I don't know, and along the way we gotta progress. So as of now, that's my strategy too. Saniminder Deep. I currently do not possess any property and I'm planning to buy an investment property instead of primary residence. So, in this process, would I lose my first time home buyer benefits? So here and I'm not a financial advisor or any professional in that case, except I'm a realtor. Just my personal friendly advice, right? Of course, talk to your professionals before you make any decisions. Just a disclaimer to save myself. So if you're buying your first home, and if you're buying as a primary resident but you want to make as an investment later on, then you can still get your first time home buyer rebates, like a land transfer tax will be waived off. So even when I purchased my first property, because I didn't had any other properties, it was a duplex. It's an investment technically, but I moved in. My intentions was to move into the property into one unit. So I said it's my primary home. So then I got my rebate, which is $5,000. But if there is no way, absolutely, you cannot move into that house, or you have no intentions to move into the house, what you're losing is that 5% down. Sorry, not the 5% down, the land transfer tax, the first time home buyer rebate. Maybe again, that's something lawyers might have a better solution. That if you don't have a property, even though you're buying as an investment, some people do say that it's their primary home for the lawyer, and they do get that land transfer rebate of $4,000. That's what you're losing. Uh, and the other side is like 5% down. If you are moving in, you get 5% down. If you're not, if you're investing, then you got to put 20% down. So those are the two things that you can impact on your decision. So if there is a chance, if you can move in, maybe after a few months you can move out, then you can take those advantages. If not, that's what you're losing. If you're willing to lose that and still invest, hey man, you will be making better returns anyways in the long run. Han, do you know what typically cost of opening a load-bearing wall in order to open concept? Is it worth to do in a Burr project? That's really a contractor question. So I would suggest, you never know. I have done that in the past. So one property that I did, I even have a video tour where I opened the load bearing. It was not a load bearing. So you got to first bring the contractor in, show them what's the what it is there a load bearing wall first of all, if you don't know if it's not if it is a load bearing or not. So first, because hard for me to or look even until the day I don't know sometimes if there is a load bearing or not. Whereas when you bring the experienced contractor in, they will look at it, they'll tell you, okay, if there is a load bearing, generally the solution I heard is LVL beam. That's not that expensive, probably cost you $1,000 to $2,000 depending on how much size and so many elements or variables. But it's probably an extra cost of 4,000 or 5,000 on a high side, depending on the size of the house, of course, and depending on how complicated the situation is. But I would suggest, what I would do if I were you, I would get couple of contractors in, I would ask their suggestion, what each person will think, what is the solution you're getting. If someone have a creative solution, someone have a better solution. Some people I have seen, even though they do open concept, they still leave a post, like a load bearing, on the load bearing beams they leave a post. So still they kept the load bearing with a small bulk in that area. So still the load bearing is there, still the post is there, so they haven't touched the structure. Unless you change that to a LVL beam, you cannot remove this load, that's beam. So get contractors in, get those suggestions, see, you know, especially who have done this kind of work. And if you're getting a reasonable quote, if it's like 2000, 3000, or 4000, or even 5000, I might do it, because open concept can add good amount of value, because open concepts are makes the property modern. So if you can, but if it's getting too expensive and it's taking too much time, then maybe I would avoid. I did not do for every property. I only did for few properties where it was easier, where my cost is not that much. Amrish, hi Aditya. Suppose I'm living in another province. So is it wise to invest in different province, 4,000 kilometers apart? When do you know will not be able to keep an eye on it regularly, face to face? So, Amrish, this is a really a deep conversation. I'll try to give a short answer. One, pretty much you're talking about long distance. It doesn't matter whether in a different province or different city. You're talking about long distance investing, right? So I know there are a lot of investors who are very successful in long distance investing. That being said, you got to learn it in a right way. So there are actually a couple of really good books on bigger pockets. If you go on to bigger pockets bookstore, search those books for the long distance investing, a long distance real estate investing. Go through those books, read, understand what are the ways, what are the systems you need to put in place, what are the things that you need to be aware, how can you manage from out of town. Because thanks to the technology, you can literally manage everything. It's I'm not saying just for you to make that purchase. I'm saying really, like, it's very very doable, because I have a lot of clients who, some of them, they never even saw their property, but they have done the bird strategy, they have done the, they have, got the good property management company here, get there, who are managing. Of course, you got to keep an eye. There are a few people who burned out as well, because they didn't keep an eye, they didn't look at their invoices every month, they didn't check why their property manager is sending an expense, they didn't ask for questions, they didn't ask for a video tour, they didn't ask for photos, live photos, they didn't ask for all those things. So now obviously you're burned out. So learn how to invest in a right way. And then, of course, in that, once you learn, all these big investors, they were not in one spot, they still invest in this bigger properties. So if they can do it, or even like I have seen a lot of smaller investors too, if they can do it, we can do it too. But learn. Sumit, hey Sumit, how are you? I'm a big fan. Thank you, man. Watching all your videos. Thank you so much. Most recent one about your struggles. Hats off to you. You're real inspiring. Thank you so much. If you guys haven't watched that video, that's a little bit painful. And thanks to my team, they did a fantastic editing job as well. Um, you know, you got to know your why, right? That's one, the takeaway that I want to give for people, especially if you're investing or doing all these side hustles. If you don't know what's your why, you won't go further, because now you won't have enough motivation to do things. So thanks for bringing up. If you haven't check out those video, guys. I promise it's a 5 minutes short one, just tells a little bit more, why I'm doing all this investing, sales, and all those things. Sam, hey Aditya, how are you? Aware of any A lenders who does give 400K loan to someone with low income, 30K? Um, so Sam, you're asking for A lender. Why do you want to have a lender when when you don't have enough income? Because A lenders, the big five, they want income. If you don't have income, they don't lend, period. Unless if the property is a different cow, where you're getting a lot of income from the property, different stories. But doesn't matter if it's A lender or B lender, if the rates are decent and their terms are decent, what matters? Like, I work with some credit unions, I had clients who worked with different B lenders who have still great rates. So why does it matter, a lender, if you have a decent rates? So what matters is, first of all, one, you got to increase your income, of course, to qualify for 400,000, or maybe find a partner who can qualify, or in the worst case scenario, come up with a higher down payment where they qualify you, even if you have a lower um, income, because if you have a higher down payment, they might qualify you. So to answer you, I don't know. I don't know any lender who does that, but there are a lot of creative mortgage agents. Find, talk to them. If you need suggestions, DM us mortgage agent on Instagram or here. We will hook you up with some lenders. Email us. Okay, we are almost. Oh my God, the time just flew. It's almost 8 o'clock. Guys, you guys are very interactive. Thank you. I love to see those questions coming in. That's that. I cannot. And by the way, like, I go live every Thursday 7 p.m. And from next week onwards, actually, I'm trying to get some guests as well. So next week I have a mortgage guy coming in. So hold on your all your mortgage questions. He will be able to answer some more. And let me know if you want any person that you want me to bring on the live who can answer some of your questions, or anything who you'd love to see on the channel. Let me know in the comments below. Sumit, I bought a town home last year. We had down payment of 5% back then. I went to buy a single family home now for a second home. Do I have to pay 5%, 20% down as a down payment? So that's a common question I get all the time. I even made a multiple videos on this one. Not always. Not, you don't have to have 20% down always, especially if you're moving from townhouse to the detached home. And the banks, the lender, the mortgage person, what they can do is they consider that townhome as a rental. And now they look at the numbers with your income and expenses, and with that rental income, now they do the qualification thing. If you qualify for this one, even for 5% down, they'll lend you, because you're moving in for your primary house purpose. You're upgrading your life from townhome to um, detached home. So it's possible, but I cannot give you 100% answer. Talk to a mortgage person, especially a good mortgage person can definitely help you. I personally, I bought a duplex for 5% down. I moved into the house that I'm living right now, and this is for 5% down as well. So, and I have helped a lot of clients who have done that in the past. So it's doable. Talk to the lenders. Hitesh, Tom Ferry, bro. I love to have Tom Ferry on my show. Probably I gotta step up my game even further to get his time. So, but I'll try. I cannot promise on that, on that guy, Tom Ferry or Grant Cardone. I love to have them. We'll reach out. My team will reach out. We'll try. Hitesh, I want to become a successful realtor. What is the best place for me to start and best source of learning for real estate? So the best source is books, Bigger Pocket, and Bigger Pocket's podcast, and some podcasts. One of my favorite podcasts for real estate agents, Rockstar, Rockstar Real Estate Agent. That's a podcast, and a lot of books, and do a lot of networking. And of course, first get your license, because that's the first step, right? And learn, because you're going to have two skill sets very solidly. One, real estate knowledge. You need to have a solid real estate knowledge about neighborhoods, about the prices, all those things. On top of it, you got to be a solid marketing person. You got to put yourself out there, you know in front of hundreds of people or thousands of people. If you're not in front of hundreds of thousands of people, you won't be a successful realtor. You will make a end lives, but again, it's same as a job. Hope that makes sense. Thank you, bro. Why Windsor prices are skyrocketing, Lolo? I think it's not only just the Windsor prices; it's all over Ontario, because the demand and supply. There is less supply and more demand. A lot of immigrants moving in, and it's not only here. Unfortunately, inflation, because of the inflation, it's lot of countries around the world, like in India, China, and a lot of countries having this um, appreciation crazy in real estate because the inflation as well, because the inflation went up so high in recent times. So yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not that crazy in the economics to give you a real answer, but you know what? Don't look at that's why they're going up. There are always deals. You can always find good deals. So just do your thing, what you can control, which is analyze deals, look at a lot of deals. Rasmith, how is it difficult mortgage approval? It depends on your personal situation. How can I tell you how difficult it is for approval or not? It depends on what are you doing, what's your financial situation, what's your legal status in Canada, what are your expenses, and how much are you looking for mortgage. So many questions, bro. Sit with a mortgage person, you will get a good idea on what's where you're standing on the financing side. It's wholesaling illegal? uh, Good question. Yes, absolutely, wholesaling is legal. It's only difference, like literally wholesaling, nothing but selling a home without a license. So you're kind of a realtor, not a realtor, without a license. So you don't have too many regulations like us. As a realtors, we have a lot of regulations. We got to follow this, we got to do this, that. But wholesaling, in simple, you're connecting a seller with a buyer, with a very, all you need to know is a form, and you need to a good lawyer who can close this assignment sales. So you just need to know how to put a offer, and how to put a assignment of assignment, how to assign that offer to another buyer. So if you guys don't know what's wholesaling, uh, basically it's nothing but you're finding a seller who is looking to sell a home. You taking that property on a contract, you're writing an offer to that uh, seller saying that I'll be buying with a assignment clause, and you go find a buyer and you sell it for whatever the price you have, maybe extra 10 or 5 or 15 or 20,000 on top of that price. You assign that deal to another buyer that you find. So you're finding the seller, you're finding the buyer. So technically you're an agent without a license. So guys, I think I'll take a one last question. Looks like it's already we passed by 8. So thank you so much for all interaction. If I haven't answered your question, please don't feel bad. DM us if you need any help in Windsor, Essex, selling, buying, investing, whatever it is. Me and my team, we are happy to help you guys. So DM us on Instagram, or we have a contact info page on the in the chat box, or wincityre.com. Check out us, like just send us an email or hit on the contact us page. Just a small form, will reach out to you and will help you anything that you need here in Windsor. Are you going to extend to Montreal and also to in construction works? um, Bro Sunil, I love to, but as of now I don't have any idea about Montreal. I don't have any plans as of now. But if you have any investment opportunities, hit me up. I'm curious to look into construction works. I love to build new homes, but I'm holding my guns because I already burned myself before without proper knowledge. So this time, yes, maybe I will build sometime soon. I'm already working on a tiny home right now, uh, but probably not for other people. Just for myself, I will build my own properties. So yep, with that, guys, thank you so much. It was really fun answering all your questions, and so much interactions. If I haven't hit any questions, we'll see you next week, or DM me. We'll be more than happy to help you. With that, Namaskar, good night. See you guys later.